Hello everyone. Wanted to take a few minutes here and let's talk about these two guns, the Smith & Wesson FPC pistol caliber carbine. Both are 9mm. I've already done a video on the quality of it, so to speak. But what I'm looking at today is I've spent the last couple months, pretty much since I got them. I've had this one about a little over a year, 13 months, and I just got this one last Friday. Been spending a lot of time on these two, just seeing what their limitations are. Not too much into what they're capable of doing, but I want to see what the limitations are. And from my experience and what I've been doing, I think I found it for me. So, to give you a little background, like I said, 13 months, I got probably 4,000 rounds through this one, the black one. The new gray, tungsten gray, I probably got 400 to 500 rounds through it right now. Let's go conservatively with 400. But I'm seeing the same thing on both of them. Obviously, there's nothing different other than color. And the red dot versus LPVO. Been working on that quite a bit. So here's what I found out. Between these two guns, being a 9mm bullet, one thing I did find is 200 yards is way too far for these. I was shooting a 24 by 36 sheet of paper, standard target that has a person on it, like a silhouette. You've seen them in my other videos. At 200 yards, I was shooting above my point of impact, which is about right here, the upper center mass. I was holding about 2 feet to 24 inches above it. So about 12 to 14 inches above the target, just to hit this whole area. I mean, it was all over. It looked like a shotgun blast, but it was really hard to do anything effectively at 200. So with the red dot is what I did first at 200 yards on the gray one. And 200 yards is just, can it be done loosely? But to be honest, it's too far. I even moved into 150 yards. Still a little bit on the too far to do anything with precision or effectively. 100 yards, 75, 50, obviously in. This thing's a tech driver. They both are. Especially with the red dot. Not an LPVO, but a red dot. These things were tech drivers at 100 and in. A friend of mine out at the range actually made the comment. He goes, these guns are nothing but 50 yards and in. And if you're looking to put them on top of each other or within a quarter, he's 100% right. These are 50 yard and in guns if you're looking for very good precision. But if you're looking at, precision, where I can keep them all within probably 2 or 3 inch, let's go with 3-inch circle, 100 yards is fine. Anything beyond that gets a little sketchy. So I found them to be 100 yards and in gun for any kind of precision. And what I mean by precision, at 100 yards would be a 3-inch group, and in the 9mm full metal jacket, 124 grain stuff is all I was using. Spear Lawman, all I used, the same ammo and everything. I even used a couple of their hollow points. Didn't see too much, maybe a 10% smaller grouping is what I saw with duty ammunition, but didn't run too much of that because I don't have a lot of it. But 100 yards in is what I found with the red dot, point blank. It was great. I mean, have a good time with it. I like the gun. I know it folds. I don't really care about that. It stays kind of like you see them. Now, on the other side of the fence, when I was running the same gun, but black, with an LPVO. This is a CV Life Eagle Talon 1 and 6. I had a good old time with this one. We ran it at 200 yards. Today I did probably 50 rounds at 200 yards, 5 at a time. We'd go down and check it, come back, go down and check it, back and forth. I found that the LPVO on it kept a much smaller group. Still all over, but it was a lot smaller. This one here, my grouping was literally from the neck to the belt line. It was fairly large with the bullet drop. With the and the reason I have to say that is this is a 4 MOA dot, so at 200 yards, that dot is covering about 8 inches or the entire head or the area that I wanted to shoot, it would cover all of that. So if you're moving an inch or two on the target, yeah, it's going to be different, and that range at 1 degree of movement is quite a bit. So going back to the LVPO, I found that with that 1 MOA dot, so it's 2 inches at 200 yards, I was able to keep tighter control without that big old 8-inch dot down there floating around and moving. This littler one obviously moved more, but it wasn't so huge. I could pretty much pinpoint the shots a little easier. So this one here is like neck to belt line, probably a 2-foot spread. This one here, I kept them at probably 15 to 18 inch spread. It was quite a bit smaller. And the 6.5 inch square I was aiming for on the red dot, I was able to get 3 rounds in it. On the black with the LVPO, I was able to get 9 rounds in it. So I think with the LVPO and bringing, obviously the sight picture closer to me by magnifying it, and with a much smaller dot, well, it's 4 MOA, and this is a 1. Much smaller, I was able to keep the group down. But to be honest, even with an LVPO and having much closer sight picture of it, or a visual of it, it's still too far for it. To get any kind of accuracy, like if I was looking for right between the eye shot and the holdover and all that, it's just not gonna happen. I tried, and it wasn't effective. You get, like, again, going back to what I found on this one, at 125 yards with the LVPO, at 150 actually, it started to come in a little better. Wasn't happy with it. I think 150 is even too far with this gun with an LVPO. But 125, it actually came in a lot better. Couldn't get the precision, but I could keep them all in that square fairly easy. Now, when I hit 100 yards in, obviously it was brain dead. It was fairly easy and good to go. So if you're looking at trying to get some distance, I'm gonna push it to 100, 125. The LVPO is a way to go on these. Not so much as a red dot. And if you're looking for 100 yards in, the red dot and the LVPO is the way to go. Especially the LVPO getting in closer. And what I mean by that, going all the way up to 15 yards from 100. This thing's spot on. I was keeping them all within probably a silver dollar. So a 2-inch circle, really easy. So was this one. And to be fair, at 100 yards, this one, it would probably be a 3-inch circle down there, and I could keep them in there 100, 75, 50, 15, 25, and 7. Keep them all in that, and a 2-inch, maybe 2.5, I could do it with the LVPO. So I just wanted to put that out there, and because I've had people ask which is better, LVPO or red dot. Really depends on your application and what you want to do. So pick out what you're going to do and figure it out. Like they come with those 23 round mags. I still haven't used them. They're piled back there in that box right there. There's about 15 of them back there. But I find the 15 rounds are just fine. I don't go really over 10 rounds. That's about the most I'll put in it, between 10 and 12. So I have a good old time with it. I'm not out there to waste rounds or nothing like that. But the next thing I'm going to try with these guns was red dot and that. Just have a little fun. Probably going to be better with this than that by far. So I'm going to do some steel stuff. I have the Texas Star, and we're going to start moving around on distances on that. I'm going to find the limitations of these at some point. So within the next couple months, probably I'm going to start it next weekend. So we'll be doing that. We'll see how these work. I don't want to say competition-wise because I don't do that. I don't have time for that stuff. But I'm going to take out my own Texas Star, my own steel, and we're going to run these and see how they work. So we'll have a little bit of fun competition-wise, movement-wise, and see how these work for us. So stay tuned for that one. If you have any questions about this and what we kind of did with them versus optics and stuff like that, let me know. Like always, I've already done one on the guns themselves. They're really good. They're a lot of fun. Get you one if you want, and we'll see you later.